Welcome to Bayou Time. I'm Jacob DeGate, and I'm glad to be joined here by the General Manager of Terrebonne Parish Consolidated Waterworks. We have Mr. Mike Sober. Good to have you back on
Good,
stage.
good, Jacob. Thank you very much. I appreciate it as always. Thank you.
Right. I see, you just issued a press release that they're having a temporary change in the disinfectant of
Yes,
water. Can you
yes,
explain, the
sure.
purpose behind it?
As I think I've said before, the water that we produce and water people drink here in Terrebonne Parish, as well as pretty much everywhere else, is really a disinfected water. It's not a sterile, it's not a distilled, it's not anything. What our treatment plants do basically is kill bacteria. We don't discriminate, good and bad. We kill it all. To do that, we choose to use as our primary what's called chloramines. And chloramines are a mixture of chlorine and ammonia. The chlorine, of course, is the killer. That's what kills the bacteria. The ammonia is added to it, and it tends to want to make the chlorine last longer in the water system so that it stays with killing power all the way to the end. So they call that a chloramine. We are a surface water treatment plant. In other words, we take our raw water from Bayou Lafourche, which comes from the Mississippi River, versus the ground where you would drill a well. Well, we can't drill a well here, it's salt water. So we're a surface water, and the EPA mandates that we be a chloramine system. As you know, I say the word, the brain-eating amoeba, Naegleria fowleri, we found several times in our water 5 years ago now. The Louisiana Department of Health decided that the way to keep it out was to raise the residual chlorine amount in the water. That's what we do. Well, free chlorine, no ammonia, is a better killer of bacteria than is chloramines. It doesn't last as long, but it's easier to boost and to pep it up as it gets out in the system. So because we have been so successful in keeping the residual up, we've decided to get off of chloramine for 60, 90 days and go back to free chlorine, make sure the system is real clean, and then go back to chloramine. As we were talking earlier, as the heat rises, a lot of things happen in the water. For example, in the raw water, algae becomes a big problem. And some algae is not necessarily just green and pretty, it's awful ugly and violent. It's from a health standpoint. That's a problem. As the water rises, it's harder to keep the chlorine in it to disinfect. So by going to free chlorine, we try to solve all those problems and give you the best bacteria-free water that we can.
Okay. Now, will residents notice any change in smell or taste at all?
They will probably smell it more because the strength will not be any more or less. It's just, it will not be tied up with the ammonia. If that's a problem to you, and a lot of people tell me, oh, I don't drink that stuff, it smells like chlorine. That's a good thing when it smells like chlorine, okay? Because the opposite would mean you might have bacteria. So if you just put the glass on the counter for a minute and then come back to it, the chlorine will evaporate it all. And so that's one way you can shake it up a little bit, let it down, and then go. It just gets rid of chlorine. But it's the same water before. It's disinfected. It's bacteria-free. It's safe for human consumption. It just doesn't have that ammonia in it to make it carry a little bit further down the line.
I see. I see. Now, you mentioned, the brain-eating amoeba. Is that that's one of the ways that you combat it? Is there any other ways, such as running lines or anything?
Well, what we do is in 2013, a young man in St. Bernard Parish, a kid, died from the brain-eating amoeba. And that just stirred everything up. And the water business has not been the same since. Prior to 2013, I think everybody said, just give me plenty of water and don't worry about it. Well, now it's give me plenty of water, but now I want quality water. And that has changed the game tremendously. And so it becomes more difficult on us to keep and meet the standards that the state and the EPA has. When you deal with the federal government, you never have the right to make the requirements less. You can make it more stringent with no problems. Sure. And that's what the state of Louisiana decided to do. So instead of a 0.2 residual minimum, we have a 0.5. We at Consolidated Waterworks shoot for, in about 98% of the time, keep it at 1.0 and above. So we're at least twice, if not 5 times higher than the federally mandated minimum.
Good deal. And we were talking before during the break a little bit about, you have some improvements that
Sure.
are going out to
Right.
bid. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
So the big deal, at least to us, was for the first time ever, the state of Louisiana rated their water utility system. Some of my fellow utilities have kind of fallen on less than complimentary terms in the news media. Again, Terrebonne Parish Consolidated Water Works is an A-rated, 100 out of 100 points on that grading scale. So we're very proud of that. A lot of hard work that goes into that all the time. We ponied up $7.5 million of our money. We were fortunate enough to get a $5 million grant from the Louisiana Legislative Water Sector Committee through the Biden administration. So we will be going out in a couple of weeks for the first of 4 projects to spend that $12.5 million to better the water system in Terrebonne Parish. We took a big hit. We lost the main transmission line. Got a lot of other stuff that happened, tanks and all that kind of stuff. But when we finish this $12.5 million, we're going to be not only as good, but actually better than we were before. Better from redundancy, better for resiliency, and better for the quality of water. We will cut the time that water stays in the pipe before it gets to the people almost in half. So that's a big deal. That's a big deal in the water business.
Well, it certainly sounds like good things are coming, and it sounds like y'all are doing a great
We
job
had it.
there, and we
Well,
appreciate it.
Thank you. We appreciate it.
And thanks for coming on and letting
Always a
everybody
pleasure.
know about it.
Always a pleasure. Thank you, Jacob.
You're welcome. Stay tuned for more right here on HTV.